Hey everybody, happy Thoughtful Thursday. Let's talk about it. Today we're going to talk about comparison and why it sucks. It's just not helpful. It's not where it's at. It's probably based in some gross fear stuff. Like it's just not a helpful choice. I like to say comparison is the killer of all good things because it just is. Now I feel like we've discussed this before, but just in case, I'm going to remind y'all that we are hardwired to, we have what's called negative bias. So our brains automatically kind of go to, not worst case scenario, but different is possibly a threat because of our caveman days, right? Like there are just some old programmed things in here that we are up against, but we are evolved creatures, whether it feels like it or not some days. We are capable of more, and that's where mindfulness comes in, right? Is we understand that, like, even if I have this negative bias where you look different, you sound different, you talk different, you act different than me, so different means possible threat. It doesn't even mean guaranteed threat. It just means something in our brains go, oh, that's different. What does that mean? What's that about? You know, ooh, be careful, or ooh, you know, and then you add conditioning, you add social whatever's on top of that, and that can just get really kind of not nice. So it's important to understand that we do naturally kind of have this negative bias where different and other means possible threat. So we have resistance there, or we have judgment there. Like that can be a default thing. But the good news is we can train ourselves out of that, or at least get to a place where we don't have that kind of subconscious thought, and then we react and spin out and make kind of all kinds of choices and decisions and actions and words just out of reaction and out of habit and out of like programming. We, with mindfulness and meditation and awareness, can go, oh, that's what that is. That's not really true, is it? No, it's not. And then we go, oh, so what am I really looking at? Like what's in front of me? What's there? What's that about? We can choose curiosity. So what I want to say is comparison also comes from a place of lack. Right? Like if you have a business, you think, oh, they're succeeding, which means there's less for me, which is not true. The universe is infinitely abundant in every way imaginable. Money, love, all the things. Okay, so comparison is like, oh, they have that, they're doing that, they're similar to me, but like they're already more successful. Why should I even bother? Like that's all bullshit, and that's just fear, right? We can go, oh, that's interesting, and oh, they're similar. Maybe they're similar to you. So again, and I've said this before, but you can take that as encouragement to keep going, and like, oh, an ally, like someone that gets it, you know, someone that's out there doing this with me. Or if it's like totally different, you're like, that's not how I do that. I would never wear that. I would never blah, blah, blah. Like we're meant to delight in each other. We're meant to delight in our differences. You know, so get curious instead of comparing, like, oh, well, that's not how I would do it, or that's what this is blah, 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 like right, wrong, better than, less than, you know what I mean? Like it just comparing in any level, not helpful. So we can delight in the contrast. We can be like, oh, because if you just looked at the same color, like if I just looked at green and that was the only color that I knew and everything was green, like that's fine, and green's beautiful. But isn't it more fun to have like the full rainbow? Isn't it fun to have like the full spectrum of color? Like that's just fun, isn't it? That's just nice to look at. It doesn't even have to be deep. It's just like, oh, that's really pleasant. That makes life nicer, you know? So the same is true for us humans, and the way that we talk and the way that we look and the way that we dress and the way that we do things, and we can just let it all be okay. And we can get curious because maybe we feel resistance to something, and that like comparison, like, ooh, what's that? Or ooh, threat, or whatever. Like maybe it's actually because the resistance we're feeling is because it's activating something in us that actually feels attracted to it or called to it. But because of our social conditioning, because of our patriarchal brainwashing, because of how we were raised, whatever you want to say, you know, that's actually telling us that it's wrong to be attracted to that. It's wrong to be drawn to that. It's wrong to be like, oh my God, that is how you can do life? Like, that actually makes a lot of sense to me. That actually resonates with me way more than anything I've seen before this moment. Holy crap, why didn't I think of that? You know, that could be the real thing going on underneath all of it. But because you were trained and programmed and taught that like different is bad, you don't even entertain going there. And then you're missing this amazing version of your life, because you're scared of it because it's different, when deep down it's the real you feeling like, oh my God, that's my jam. Like, what's that about? So by choosing to just compare and judge and dismiss instead of getting curious about it, you're missing out on a whole possible new path for yourself. So get curious. Or it's like, why do I resist that? Why am I judging that? Because then, whether it's the thing I just said, or it's revealing a shadow part of yourself, where it's like you're judging that because you actually judge that in yourself. You know, like maybe it's hard for you to look at that because you know that you do it too. But because it's on someone else, you don't even see that it's the same thing that you do. So get curious instead of comparing, judging, dismissing. Enjoy the contrast. Enjoy the different colors. Even if you totally are like, whoa, that's not how I would do it. Or no way, that's not for me. Like for me, there's certain jobs in this world that I'm like, oh my God, could never do it in the first place. Or I'm never going back to that, because I know me better now. I know me more now. And it's like, I applaud you. I appreciate you. Thank God you do that job. That is not my job. Just like, you know, as an actor, people are like, oh my God, it's like their literally number one fear is public speaking or being on stage. For some people, that's like the worst thing that anyone could ever ask them to do. Or for me, like, I totally get my jollies off. I love it. Look at me. I'm talking to you every freaking day, you guys. And being on stage, the more people, the better. Playing music, singing, acting, talking, like, sign me up. I love it. So that's the thing. We need all the different versions of all of us, because we make this beautiful, complex, interesting, stunning, colorful world. We are what makes life worth living. It's each other and how different we are, and celebrating those differences. So I got you some really good words. Curiosity, enjoy the contrast, celebrate our differences, celebrate these things that make us different, because deep down underneath all of that, we're all the same. We're here for the same thing, which is love. So we can let everything else just be decoration to it. Cool? Cool. So contrast, curiosity, celebration. Yeah, man, do it. Okay, have a great day. Bye.